And away we go. It is another nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com, brought to you by our great friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. I was there tonight for dinner. It was outstanding. We took one of Kelsey's friends with us. She claimed to be a fried chicken expert and declared it the best fried chicken that she's ever had, and immediately texted her family and told them that they would be going to Galactic Fried Chicken soon. That's how good Galactic Fried Chicken is. An 11-year-old expert deemed it the best fried chicken she's ever had. What more could you ask for?
It's the place I have to go next time I get down to Cincy.
Yeah, we've been wanting to get to lunch when you come down. Next time you come down, that's where we're going. We're going to Galactic. I will get you set up. Are you what would be your order? Are you a fried chicken guy or are you a chicken tendies guy?
I'm definitely gonna go chicken tenders. No hard feelings about it. I'll go with the boneless stuff all the way.
They are massive.
That's what you said.
You think you could eat 3?
Oh yeah, I can nail down 3.
Okay. A lot of people have said that, and a lot of people have gotten through 2 and said, I'm gonna take this 3rd one home. So we'll see if you're up to the challenge. As you can see, Aaron Smith had some family stuff going on tonight up in Athens. So I called out to the bullpen. We got a pinch hitter in Mick Walker. You're a righty, right? Are you a righty?
Yep.
Went to the righty in the pen. We got Mick Walker, who was at spring practice today. It is his 2nd spring practice that he has taken in. 3rd spring practice that he has taken in so far. That's right. I wasn't there. We were dealing with some Kelly stuff, and you filled in for me. 3rd one that Mick has been to so far. So I'm sure he has got some thoughts. You guys hear my thoughts all the time. You loved when Mick filled in a couple Fridays ago and gave you his thoughts in the notes. So we are going to stick with that as our primary source of entertainment for the night. Mick, practice number 3. What did you see today in the bubble?
I mean, they're losing a lot on defense, and you saw that on Thursday with the pro day. But man, that defense, when they put the ones out there, they are just flying around. And like you guys have mentioned before, they lose a lot. Like they got some injuries on the interior of that O line, so that's naturally going to be a bit of a soft spot. But man, when that D line and those DBs get going, they're a tough unit to crack. Just with everybody they've got around there, even after losing a lot of the veteran presence they had, they're still like, man, just putting up points, getting time is just something that the offense struggles with at times. And I mean, that's to see the depth just continue to reload on defense is crazy.
Yeah, I think what's been most impressive for me so far, we talked a lot about like what would they look like at corner. There's obviously a drop off with Sauce, but Arquan Bush has been at the boundary pretty consistently over the past week. That looks to be like his spot. Today we had Sammy Anderson in the nickel. Taj Ward was sick, so he wasn't in practice today. But Todd Bumpus at the field, and once again, man, even the second team, like this secondary still looks like a strength. Well, I don't know if it looks like a strength yet. It doesn't look like a weakness, I guess would be the right thing to say, right?
Yeah, and I mean that's obviously like Taj Ward's a great guy. You've talked about him for years. Can play every spot on that defense, but a lot of that is going to come too with this Sammy Anderson experience and the nickel. As that progresses, obviously the ceiling of everything getting in that defensive backfield goes up because Sammy's just that type of athlete and type of player when it comes to talent-wise that he could be very much a plus in the nickel. Todd's looked good every time I've seen him. And it seems like he's really taken hold of the boundary spot and doesn't plan to let go of it. So,
field spot.
I'm sorry, boundaries. Yeah, gotcha.
Boundary has been Arquan. I've always been a big Bumpus guy. I know when he came in, they came in together, him and Sammy, and Sammy was the higher rated guy, so he had a little bit more hype. But Bumpus has always just been solid, man. Like his technique is good. You'd never really see him get beat. Like he's just the epitome of solid.
Yeah, and that's one of the things where like you've got the case of the 24/7, the industry being a bit different than Cincinnati because Bumpus, I believe, if you go back, was rated as a safety, and that's just sort of how the evaluators viewed him. Cincinnati brought him in, said he's a corner, and they've trained him there. He's got good training for Perry Eliano. Now he's getting good training from Kerry Combs, and he's just fitting in there like a glove, and it's looking great. Sammy's really picking it up at nickel, which is nice to see because he's got a bit of just a swagger to him that when he's out there that makes it interesting. Him and like you said, they came in together, so him and Bumpus have a good chemistry when they're just moving around out there, and you can sort of see that when they're playing. Same with those DB spots. I mean, we don't get to talk about him a ton, but I do think he had a pick today. Didn't Hicks had a pick?
Hicks had a pick today. Yep.
Yeah. But
I mean that's one thing with him. He's always around the ball.
Yeah, he's just a catalyst for that young group of corners and stuff. I mean, he's rock solid, steady as can be. Even as they're breaking in that other safety, he's so good that you don't even see the other safety making that many mistakes because he's out there covering up, making sure everything's covered. And the other safety, I mean, that's probably what we got to talk about. Threats look good. Omarion Smith laid a lick on somebody at the end of practice when Hicks had to take it.
It was Miles Montgomery.
Yeah, but Hicks stepped out, so Omarion was running behind him when they went ones or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a great play overall, great ball from Evan on the wheel to Miles. And then Omarion did not like that they got a deep wheel route and he let Miles Montgomery know right at the goal line. I mean,
that's a play in practice most guys give up on. Like they kind of let up and they let the running back cruise into the end zone, and Omarion just kept flying. And he whacked him at about the 4-yard line. I think the call was that Miles still got in, but it was a loud hit. Armorion's good for that. Hicks landed a little. He hit on his interception. It looked like he got bent back a little bit. It didn't look like anything crazy.
It was a tip, and then he was able to. It was a tip, and the receiver was able to come right around and tackle him right after he moved. So it was a bit of a weird roll up type of thing. But Miles looked great.
Didn't look too bad.
We talked about Miles and just you get them, especially. I mean, but I thought all the running backs looked good today. I mean, Wright had some power to him. Was it Chuck broke one? Was that
Chuck did get a long one? Yeah.
And Miles looked good, and that's
your
good.
Boy, the young pup Bird looks good when they give him a shot.
Yeah, his thing is just, and you can see it when they work through drills. It's something Coach Page is still working on with that's the pass protection, the catching the ball. That's not a lot of stuff that Steph had to do in high school, but that's the thing that's really coming to Miles' game, and you can see it now. Like we said, the wheel route caught it nicely, and it wasn't he caught it at the 1-yard line. He caught it about 15 yards and then had to run it in and still made a play on it. Just seeing those guys click because Miles is a guy we remember hearing him when he started committing and looking at UC, and it's just they love that kid. So to get him on campus, I mean, they were thrilled, and you're sort of starting to see why they were thrilled.
We've talked about it here a little. Like he's I think the most like full package running back on the roster in terms of being able to run the ball, having speed, having power, getting better in pass protection, can catch the ball, can make plays. Like he's a kid. I love his game. Like I seriously think he's going to be in the mix. If he's not RB1, he's going to get a lot of carries this year. Coming up from the back of the roster to the top of the roster. It's so hard in the spring because they're so rarely doing anything more than thudding to get a good feel for running backs. But man, he just looks natural with the ball in his hand.
Yeah. And he's another guy that finishes everything. I mean, they always drill it on him, but you could just sort of tell when he gets a gear that he's able to just open up and run after they sort of whistle the play dead. He just opens a gate up and he's got a next gear, which is crazy. Let's see. Do we really quarterbacks? Evan was.
I mean, I know you want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, you have more of the full story. You have all the chapters. I've got 3 chapters. I haven't read all the books, so I don't know if that's what you want to go with. But I mean, Evan looked good, and it's just something we were talking to some people after practice, and they even admitted just the progress, the actual progress Evan has made as a quarterback in that offense has been leaps and bounds. And that's the thing with him is just getting that progress, getting the technical refinement, the play speed refinement. And that's what Ben Bryant obviously brings in, is because the year in the MAC killing it. I mean, you got the experience, but Evan's starting to have it click, just everything for him. It's interesting to see because when he's in, the offense just, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. It just feels like it has some juice to it because, I mean, he's out here running, he's mobile, and he's got the ability to drop some wow throws in there too.
Yeah, it's just the inconsistency.
Yeah.
And that has not been as much of a like concern. Like I thought he had a good practice, not a great practice, but had a good practice on Thursday and followed it up with a really good practice today. And that's the question. Can he stack good practices? Can he start to be that guy that every day comes out there and you know what you're going to get? That's the challenge for him. That's where he has to keep moving up the ladder. And I thought the first week where they did the Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday before they went on spring break, I thought it was good a day, bad a day, good a day, bad a day. And this week, I thought all three practices, he's been consistently, at worst, solid. He's been consistently good. And that's how you throw your hat into the mix, right? Like, look, I think behind the scenes, there was just a belief that, like, Ben is going to have such a advantage and experience that it was going to be hard for Evan to match that consistency that Ben, has now because he's gotten those opportunities. And we're starting to see Evan answer that challenge. That's what I talked about. Like it was like the second day of practice, and Ben had an awesome day where he was just dropping dimes all over the field and showing off his arm talent. So then that Wednesday, it's like, all right, I want to see what Evan does today, coming off of getting his ass kicked today, right? Yeah. Like sometimes in practice you get your ass kicked. It happens. And Evan responded and had the better day that Wednesday, or at least an equal day that Wednesday. So it's trending in a good direction for Evan Prater. Like that's the best way you can put it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, when you look at that offense, we were talking about Shaman a ton today. You got Shaman, Lenny, Josh, Trey, Tyler Scott, Jaden Thompson, Chris. My guy Chris Scott was making plays. Like you've got the ability to sit there and
Nick
make
Gardner.
Yeah, you've got the ability to sit there and just say, we need somebody that gets the ball to these weapons, and that's all we like. So like that's when you're talking about this consistent style of play. That's something that Ben does every single time. He's always getting like he's one of those guys you don't see him take a lot of those sacks or those plays where he sort of scrambles and runs out of route. He's quick to I got a guy, I'm gonna go now. And that's just part of that experience thing. Like I don't need to hold the ball. I don't need to wait for the big play. He's right. Got that in him. But you're right. I mean, Shaman, it's just crazy. There was one. It wasn't even that like crazy of a play. It was just a 5-yard like 5-yard curl, 5-yard sit, and I mean, Threats had him covered. But Shaman being Shaman, I mean, he just boxed him out, snagged it, turned, and it broke it for 5 more. That's the thing Shaman brings is he's just such an elite athlete. It was such a crazy frame. There's going to be some guys that are in good coverage, good position, just can't stick him because he's so wide. You gotta work to get around the dude.
The thing that I think that has surprised me the most about him is his hands. Like we have not seen a slip up from him through 7 practices where it's like, should have had that one. Like we haven't seen, and he's made some tough catches in traffic, like you mentioned with Threats all now. Threats is like a gnat to Shaman. Yeah. But yeah, like the offense was solid today. I didn't think it was a great day for the offense. I thought the defense was really good in a lot of respects. But we did get to see some flashes of the offense showing off.
Yeah, there was a lot. I felt like we saw a lot of tight end. I don't remember many big deep down the field things that got completed to the wide receivers. And I don't know if
there was the one late from Evan to Lenny, or from Ben to Lenny that was that was a big play. That was about it in terms of the deep ones.
Yeah, but I think every time we've come accustomed to seeing a Tyler Scott big player, or Drew Donnelly, or like Nick Marner's got the ability to go out and get one, and they just weren't those weren't connecting today. So that probably goes into the fact that the offense was just it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it could have been better. Right. And they didn't hit on some of those where some of them were just because remember there was one where the wide receiver, we were like, he just short armed it. Good ball. He just couldn't finish it. And then so that's probably the big thing with the offense.
Recruiting, a lot of talent in the building today. Give people an idea, a rough idea for the free folks. the kind of talent that was there, and then what members can expect this week content-wise in reaction.
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking multiple. I think at least one 4-star in Dave McCullough was there for sure. Multiple other guys that are high threes and just crazy talented. I mean, that it was just when you're talking about the depth of the group, and there was a lot of guys like a Kamari Burns at defensive end and Darius Taylor that like the rankings aren't the highest. They're not like 4 stars or anything, but they're high up on UC's board. Like they like these guys a lot. And that was like they're getting these guys on, they're getting them in, like the baseline, get them on, get them in, like get them around, get them
Get
home,
them on, get them over, get them in.
That's what they're trying to do with these guys. Like Kamari Burns' 3rd visit today, I think they're really sitting in a good spot with him. He's gonna probably cut it down this month and then take some officials in June if that's what he feels like. And he's somebody that I know they're a big fan of, and they've been monitoring him for a while, just sort of seeing how he fits. But there was also just some younger talent. I mean, you got the 4-star tight end, top 50 kid out of Georgia, I believe Martavius Collins. Is that it?
Yeah,
I think
that's him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that just like not as big as Shaman, but he's one of those guys that you just see him and you're like, whoa, that's what they look like coming out of the state of Georgia. Other like it was a lot. Obviously, I haven't been able to catch up with a lot of these guys because a lot of them like they're going right out of here after spring practice. But I mean, I talked to Kamari. I will catch up with him. Darius Taylor. Both those guys I'll definitely catch up to. One of us will, whether it's me, Steve, or Alan, we'll catch up with Day. Probably Steve. Steve's got a good relationship with Day. I want to catch up with Christian Gray, 4-star cornerback, but somebody that Kerry Combs has been recruiting for a while now, dating back to his time at Ohio State, was on campus Friday. And he's another guy that I know they're in love with, and they were happy to get him on campus. And I want to catch up with him this week to sort of see where that visit ranks, because I think he was going there and then going up to Ohio State. So I mean, he's getting the full spectrum and seeing everything. And just I mean, the pure talent alone that they're getting on campus is just crazy when it comes to guys that they're able to get in with, which is just awesome to see. And it's more fun to cover for us. I mean, it makes it more interesting.
Sure. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you, good sir. Excellent nightcap debut. I know the fans will be happy with this one. They always like hearing from you.
I don't know why.
Well, you know, we make stars here. That's what we do, Mick. Aaron will be back tomorrow night. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. That's Mick Walker. I'm Chad Brendel. Galactic Fried Chicken is the sponsor, and we will see you tomorrow night. It's the nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com.